Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai Bashama Rakah Kwadash, and double honors to the head apostles, and as well as even the bishops on down, and Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai Brakadam, to the elect, whom is 144,000, and as well as the 1/3 that do follow. And I just want to get into this news over here that I find interesting, and Lord willing, you do the same as well. So as this reads, Russian-led NATO arrival ready to expand. Secretary General, the Eurasia STO alliance has become more crucial given the existing tensions in Bengali. Tasman Gambedov, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has said Russian troops taking part in the Unbreakable Brotherhood drills alongside other STO members. States current tensions could motivate more countries to join the Russian-led Collective Security Treaty Organization. The Alliance Security General Emengali Tasman Gambedov has said he made his remarks after the STO Foreign Ministers Summit in Kazakhstan last week. The STO was founded in 1992 in the wake of the breakup of the Soviet Union, which came after the ending of the Cold War, as they say, but it's been revamped since 1994. And its current members are Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Armenia. The increasing tensions within the rapidly deteriorating system of the international security will draw more attention to organizations like the STO. And Tasman Gambedov told the Russian news agency TASS on Monday, he argued that the social and political demand for security can lead to the expansion of the organization's function as well as an increase in membership. And that's what they want to do, especially being that you have this ongoing, I wouldn't say it's a war because, Ukraine has been out of the war and has been losing miserably ever since we've been hearing about it, right? But what it is that the Russians also see that NATO has an agenda, and that agenda has been going back ever since, again, 1994. We're talking about 30 years now. And, they haven't agreed to what they were supposed to back then. Well, actually, since 91, they were supposed to agree to keep the peace between, both sides, NATO and as well as the allies of Russia, which half of them have actually taken side to NATO. They've joined members with the NATO treaty organization instead. And what that does is that's giving the suspicion for the Russians to look at that as, well, they're trying to threaten us. So, that's why this has to be done. And many other things that the Russians have been doing for a while to defend themselves, and as well as their allies too. All right. So, and it's all through the spirit anyway, because the Lord is setting these nations up for the third war, which is bound to come, which is written to happen. So, reading Ezekiel 38 now, as this reads, the point is in the 4th verse. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, in the land of Magog, and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army. Actually, the point is in verse 5 and verse 6 as well. Horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shield, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, and all of them with shield and helmet, and Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all of his bands, and many people with thee. Right. So basically, there's going to be a gathering of these nations which are going to be allied with Russia, and they're going to join, possibly, they're going to join the membership of the STO, which you already have countries like Kazakhstan, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Armenia. They're part of that group, but they're looking to expand on that because they see what's going on with the building up of what NATO is doing as well. All right. So that goes in line with Ezekiel 38, because you're going to have other nations as listed in here, which will join sides of them. And then we can't even forget about what happened. I think it was the beginning of last year, back in 2023, where there was this great mobilization of 470,000 soldiers on the ready, just to include. And just like I've said, all of this is being done. And I've said it before, all of this is going to be done as they're doing, Slovakia, as they're doing to provoke the bid. All right. And this is something that this guy said in 2014, Nigel Farage. And they sort of criticized him for saying that, but it's a true statement. It's the truth. All right. So what I'm going to do, I want to play a little bit of this video. And so here we have it.
A war in Ukraine. Have we taken leave of our senses? Do we actually want to have a war with Putin? Because if we do, we're certainly going about it the right way. We directly encouraged the uprising in the Ukraine that led to the toppling of the president, Yanukovych. And that led, of course, in turn to Vladimir Putin reacting. And the moral of the story is, if you poke the Russian bear with a stick, don't be surprised when he reacts.
And that's what's going to be at the end of the day. Them Russians are going to react and do what they got to do. And that's why in the book of Ezekiel 38, it tells you that they're going to have an evil thought in their mind. And it tells you that basically they're going to come and invade Babylon. All right. Which is going to be the land of unwalled villages, because America doesn't really have a proper defense system. And they can't defend their nation anyway, because most of their military has expanded elsewhere rather than being in-house. All right. And they don't have an iron dome like the Israelis do either. So you got that issue. So what's going to be had is that the Russians are going to invade America with what they got. And that's going to be the deal right there. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say on that right there. So going to the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, and just what I was saying before, they were supposed to have let go of the Cold War back in 91. Excuse me. They were adding members to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And, these particular areas that they've added to the membership is near and dear to Russia. So they've lied on that regard. And really, it's all due to the Spirit of the Lord, because the Lord ain't going to bring no peace on this side of the spectrum. As it is written that, thus saith my power, for there is no peace unto the wicked. I'm roughly paraphrasing the scripture, which the wicked are the Edomites anyway. So now, Joel 3 and verse 1, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Now, when you read this, you would think, oh, we're going to go back into captivity. But with understanding of the word, bring again, the word is shawah, which means to turn back or to put back. So in other words, the Lord is going to put back what's our captivity. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And the valley of Jehoshaphat is is definitely in the east. And I would go as far as to say it's where the Euphrates rivers is at. around that region where the four angels are holding back the destroying winds. So that's where everything's going to brew up. The war is going to be had, and then it's going to just escalate and proliferate all around the planet Earth. But the root of it is going to begin in the east. And I will plead with them, therefore my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right, because you had the transatlantic slave trade, and you had the slave trade in the east, and we were sold all over the place. When you go into the history of slavery of our people, and these nations were involved in all of this. So this is the real reason why the third world will be had among these nations, because of what they did to the Lord's people. Okay, so now what I want to go down and read this over here. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and I will return your recompense upon your own head. Right. So the Lord, as it reads, going back to, which is what I forgot to speak on as well, how the Lord said he was going to plead with them, meaning that he was going to judge them. Hence you have the term Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Most High's judgment. Jehu is obviously referring to Yahweh, and Shaphat is the word meaning that of judgment in the Hebrew. So he's going to judge the nations. Hence when you look up that word plead as well. And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. Right, so now let's go down to verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, and prepare war, and wake up the mighty men, and let all of the men of war draw near, and let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your prunings into spears, and let the weak say, I'm strong, and assemble yourselves, and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause Almighty wants to come down, O Lord. And let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all of the heathen round about. Right, so the Lord is going to judge all of the heathen round about within this war. And like I said, it's going to begin in the east, because that's where the angels are going to be doing most of the work in regards to this war. And the angels are nothing more than powers that are going to fulfill the will of the Lord. And the will of the Lord is not for peace. The will of the Lord is for great destruction on a grandiose scale among these nations, because of the affliction that they have put upon us, and as well as the multitude of sins that has been had under them. All right. So the Lord is going to destroy them viciously, dealing with the wasters to destroy, and as well as when the Lord makes his second return. All right. So all of these nations, they're being put aside and prepared and ready to go to battle. And it's just a matter of time. So there you go. And as well as it reads, let the weak say that I'm strong, right? Because you had countries like China that were poor not too many years ago, not too long ago. And as well as even the Russians were poor. And as it stands right now, the East is rising up economically and as well as militarily. So that's the prophecy right there. Let the weak say that I'm strong. Because usually, like I said, not too long ago, the Eastern countries were poor. Now they've begun to become more greater than the Western nations. And that's all done by design, because America will be destroyed according to the will of the Lord, according to the Bible. All right. So let's read this as well. Jeremiah 51 and verse 1. And thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Right. So all of these nations, now back in the 40s, you only had certain countries like America primarily. They had the atomic bomb, and now all these other nations have the same, but it's basically nuclear bombs that they have now. And there's a purpose for that, to bring about the second death and to destroy the main culprit of all of this wickedness, which is Babylon. All right? Because they have that golden cup, and in that golden cup you have that poison that they're spreading around, which represents the philosophies thereof. And it's caused the world to go mad. Revelations, I think it's 17, right? Salakia. All right, so yeah, so this is it right here. Just getting to the point. And the woman was arrayed in purple, Revelation 17:4, in scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, the mystery Babylon the Great, and the mother of harlots, and the abomination of the earth. Right? So going back to verse 4, the filthiness and the abominations and her fornication represents her spreading her philosophies all around the place and getting from place to place like a harlot does, as she does from man to man. All right. And she was in that royalty estate, as it names the colors, the purple and scarlet color, which scarlet represents sin, and decked with gold and precious stones. And that's what the royals would wear, to show where they're at position wise in their life. All right. So they went around the road spreading their left hand side philosophy, and again, got the world bugging the hell out. All right. So that's it right there. So this is, again, one of the reasons why the third war is going to be had, because the Lord is going to get rid of America and destroy it until there's nothing left of it, which comes to mind now on Isaiah 13 and Isaiah 34. These scriptures will be coming to pass. Okay. And all we're bringing to you is the precepts. So yes, there it is. There it is, man. That's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashim Shah Bashim Rakak Wadash, and Yahweh Bashim Shah Brakatham, to the elect overall, those that are sincere, that are furthering this ministry all around, and as well as to those that follow it, whom is the 1/3. The 144,000 and the 1/3. Shalom.